Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. There are a lot of videos about this comic, so I don't know could I what what I could bring to the table about this one, but let's try. For the ones who don't know, Persepolis is a comic published originally in French. So it was published in albums, 4 albums, one each year of publication. I think 2001 to 4 through 4 or something like that. It is divided on these mini chapters, when they start, because they have this title, and they are 7 to 11, 12 pages max, and each chapter talks about a topic. The comic is an autobiography of Marjane Satrapi, and it has to do with her being from Iran and living in Iran. Album 3 has to do with her living in France, because the Islamic Republic, it is too much for her parents, so they send her away, something like that. So it has a lot of tough themes, topics, while you are reading it, while she is growing, because she starts as a kid here, and then she gets bigger and bigger, and starts to notice and having other feelings, more complex. So, you can see the drawings, they are pretty simplistic. This is an influence by her master, I would say, called David B. David B is another French comic artist from a group called L'Association, and he also makes sometimes autobiographical comics. He made one called Epileptic, and he uses this kind of drawing style for that one. So I'm sure of it, Marjane was inspired by that kind of approach, on the drawing style. It works well for this kind of comic, because it doesn't draw your attention from what she's telling. What she's telling is the most important aspect of the comic, and the way she's doing it is by having simple lines, not really long ones. And when she is narrating, because she narrates a lot, also it is pretty short narration box, and nothing really too complicated. I mean, if you try to read this on one day, it will be a lot, but it is light reading, a light reading experience. Now the topics, sure, they can turn really heavy stuff, but again, the way she tells things sometimes is even funny. When it's not, it is bearable because of her drawing style, because we have here an example of people being tortured, but you can keep reading because it's not really that explicit or gory. The simplistic aspect of it helps a lot to digest the themes a lot better. It is a lot of, like I said, 7 pages, 10, 12 pages, chapters that talk about some slice of life kind of a aspect of her. And it is a good reading experience. You learn maybe some cool stuff. Well, not cool, but stuff you didn't know. And for me, the least interesting album was the third one, when she lives in Europe. She's studying there, like on her high school years. And I don't know if for anyone is also like that, but for me it was the least interesting one. And I hated like a lot of the characters or the people she interact with, or the ones who were her friends. And well, she ended up hating them also, because when she returned to Iran on the last album, she ends up hating punk, punk music, punk culture. Another aspect of this is that the family is a communist family, so you get a lot of communist perspective on the situations that are happening. That was, at least for me, a curious aspect of the book. And there's like a lot of things, because it's like 38 chapters. There's a lot to unpack or comment, but of course I won't do that here. It is just a recommendation. Now this book also has a movie. The movie is good, the comic is good. Is one better than the other? I think they can be like complementary to each other. You can read or watch the movie first and then the other one. And I don't think one experience is better than the other. Or different, just different. Now the movie, it is a good movie, a great movie. It is on YouTube. And it is great as a movie, because she uses some stuff from here, but not everything. And the way the one scene and goes to the other flows really well. That doesn't happen here, because it is told in chapters, and not each chapter has a beginning, a middle, an end. So it is weird to like read a lot of chapters on one sitting, at least for me. It is another experience. Now, I think that's like all I have to say without really spoiling the experience. But this comic doesn't stay the same, because at first she's a child, so the way she perceives and thinks and react to things is really different from the way she does on the other 3 albums. So if you are not liking Persepolis at the beginning, I would say like stuck with it, because it's not always the same. And also, it has a lot of awards, I think, and that's a problem for me. Like, I know why it has these kinds of awards, like for the political aspect. But is it like the best comic out there, or one of the best? For me, at least, it is not one of my favorites. I wouldn't put it in my 10 favorite comics. It doesn't change the way you understand comics. It doesn't change if I were to do a comic, I wouldn't use this as like a reference. Even Persepolis is not the first time this was done, like Epileptic by David B. did this kind of approach first. So there are another comics like this. Of course, they not talk about Islam or Iran, but there are other comics in this kind of style. Persepolis wasn't the first one. Maybe will not be the last to do this kind of approach on the sentence, dialogue, and drawing style. So if it were for me, sure, I wouldn't have given this an award, for the impact. But I understand why it won, or it has a lot of press. It is a good comic, and that's why I'm recommending it. But it is not a comic I would say it will be your favorite. Or if it is, maybe you haven't read really a lot of comics. Or maybe you are not really interested on giving awards, like comics that make you say, hey, I haven't seen that, like the way they present themselves. But sure, whatever. Persepolis, good comic, good movie. I recommend to read and watch the movie, no matter the order. But consume the two of them, and maybe share it with your friends, with your family. Talk about it. It's a great experience because it is a funny book. It is, of course, a terrible book, but it is also funny. It is also entertaining. It is not heavy-handed. So that's it. Persepolis. Recommend.